Amud Aleph, 17, Masechta Pesachim. So, remember, Rav said that in the explanation of Yosef ben Yoezer's Shita, the dam cannot become Tomei Bichlal. It's not just a matter that it can't convey Tumah to something else, but it can't become Mekabel Tumah at all. So we brought a case of a pasuk in the Novi Chagai, where the pasuk says, "Hein Yisa Ish Psar Kodesh B'Knaf Bigdo." If a piece of meat touched a sheretz that was in the corner of a garment, and that touched lechem. So the sheretz touched lechem. So the sheretz is an avatuma, the lechem becomes a rishon. Velanozid, the lechem touches a stew, which becomes a sheni. Velayayin, the stew touches wine, which becomes a shlishi, which touches shemen. Vel shemen, the kol ma'achal yigdash. Would it become tamei the shemen? Vayanu hakohanim vayomru lo yigdash. And the kohanim said no. V'amar Rav yishtabish kahanim. Rav said they didn't make a mistake because they made a mistake because Hegdish can go all the way down to Revi. And they didn't know that. That's why they said low. But the proof from this brisa is very clear that Yain and Shemen are becoming Tomei. Even though these are fluids that are in the place of butchering. So, midi hu taima ela lera. The tam is like Rav because Rav mashki beis mid b'chayu tani. Aval mashki beis mid b'chayu mitam. When Rav said that the fluids do not become tamei, that's only fluids that are in the butchering place. But fluids that are placed on the mizbeach, like shemen and yayin, they can become tamei. So at this point, we see a modification in Rav Shita that, according to the way he understands Yosef ben Yoezer, he makes a chilik between fluids that are just used in the butchering place, like dam and water, blood and water, versus beverages or fluids that are placed on the mizbech. And in fact, we're going to quote the Baraisa again, Gufa. Rav Amar Ishtabish Kahani. That the Kohanim got it wrong because they didn't understand that Hegdish can go all the way down to Revi. However, Shmuel Amar Lo Ishtabish Kahani. Shmuel has a different understanding in the facts of the case with Chagai HaNavi. Rav Amar Ishtabish Kahani because Revi B'Kodesh Bo Minai. Chagai was testing them. Can Hegdish become a Revi? V'amru Tor, and they responded Tor, so they were wrong. However, Shmuel Amar Lo Ishtabish Kohani, the Kohanim did not make a mistake because they understood that it wasn't the sheretz that touched the lechem directly. It was either the sheretz touched a piece of meat which touched the lechem, or the sheretz touched the beged which touched the lechem, and therefore everything is moved down one. So he was asking the Kohanim, Chamishi b'Kodesh Bo Minayu? Can Hegdish go down to a Chamishi v'Amru Tor? Which was also a correct answer. That's why, according to Shmuel, when they answered Tor, it was correct. So Bishmal Rav. So it only makes sense according to Rav. Lechem v'nozid v'yayin v'shemen. There were four things mentioned. So the sheretz touches the lechem, which becomes a rishon, which touches the nozid, touches the stew, becomes a sheni, which touches the yayin, becomes a shlishi. Sheni revi. That's why there's 4 foodstuffs that are mentioned. El Shmuel, chamisha menolu. Where did he get chamishi? Because miksi v'noga knofo. It doesn't say that the lechem touched the corner of the garment where the sheretz was. The noga biknofo means it touched that which touched the sheretz. Ksiv bamesh noga biknofo, which, as we said, would bring the final foodstuff down to a chamishi. Toshma, I'll bring you another baraisa. Vayomer Chagai. Chagai gave them more tests. Im yigat tamei nafesh, somebody who was contaminated by touching a dead body. B'chol eila, if somebody who was tamei through tumas meis touches any of these items, hayitma, would they become tamei? Vayanu akonim vayamu yitma. So Bishma l'Shmuel midahachalo. So here they were correct, because a tamei meis, if he touches each one of those things, they're going to become tamei. And since midahachalo ishtabish, he's not confused in this case. In the first case, he was not confused either. So Shmuel's understanding about it being a chamishi question perhaps is correct. But according to Rav, how come in the first case he says that they were confused, and in this case they're not confused? You know what? Bikinem b'tumas meis, ve'ein bikinem b'tumas sheretz. They knew the dinim of tumas meis, that either could make a revi or it could be matame these things by themselves, but they were not baki by tumas sheretz. And Ravina Omar Hasam Revi. The first question: did they know anything about a revi? And here the question is: does it make a shlishi? Because they didn't touch the tumas meis. They touched the dead body itself. So if a piece of lechem touched the dead body itself, that becomes an avi avos hatuma itself. So then when the lechem touched the nazir, it made it a rishon. And then when the rishon touched the yayin, it made it a sheni. And when the yayin touched the shli, it made it a shlishi. So he was...
Who were they referring to when they said they're ignorant? They didn't know. Who were they referring to?
The Kohanim.
The Kohanim that time? At that time?
When they came back with Ezra Sofer, Chagai is questioning the Kohanim. Do they know the dinim of Tumah V'Tahar?
Okay. Thanks.
Toshma. Vayan Chagai Vayomer. Kena Amazeh. V'chena Goy Azeh. Lefonai Ne'um Hashem. Chagai, and then the pasuk says, "V'chein kol masa yadeya, v'asher yakrivu sham tamehu." Chagai says they're by their answers they don't know anything about tumah v'tahara, and everything they touch has become tamei. So bishlam l'rav hainu d'chsiv tamei. So it's clear that it's like Rav who said that the Kohanim didn't have the right answer. Ela l'shmuel amai tamei. If according to Shmuel, who learned that the Kohanim were correct, why is everything that they touch becoming tamei? So the Gemara says it's more kamatama, that no, Chagai's language was in a question mark. That means, is everything they touch going to become tamei? Absolutely not, because obviously the way Shmuel learns, they knew that did. Which seems to put the whipped cream on the sundae, because it says all the hands of their work are to become tamei. Amar Marzutra v'tem Ravashi mitoch shekilkelus maseya. Because they, in the future, he was giving a nevuah that they are going to do other averos throughout the course of Bayis Sheni, it will be as if whatever they offer will be offered in a state of tumah. Okay, Gufa. The way we learned tonight, Rav Tani Mashki Beis Midbachai. Remember, Rav said that when Yosef ben Yoezer says that the blood and the water remain tohor, they can't become tameh, that's only fluids in the butchering place. But Rav said, we made a chilek, Rav said tonight that fluids that go on the mizbeach, like shemen and yayin, and those kind of fluids, can become tameh. However, Levi learns that no, both types of fluid, whether it's in the butchering place or fluids that go on the mizbeach, they all remain tohor. Okay. The Levi anicha is fairly kishmuel. Now, the way Levi is learning that fluids cannot become tameh at all, so it would be good if Levi holds like Shmuel in the previous machlokas. If he holds like Shmuel, that fluids do not have the ability to move tumah down the line, that means they can't be metame other things. But they can acquire their own tumah. So mishkachasla. So then we would we'd have at least one case. Denogo kulu barisha. For example, the case that Chagai is asking them is not a case of sequential from the lechem to the nazir to the yain or the shemen. No, he's asking if each one touched the rishon, do they become tameh? So then we have a case. But if Levi holds like Rav de Amar Dachein Mamish, that all the fluids remain torn no matter what, so Hechim Mishkachasla. So how are you going to have a case of Chagai that anything's going to become tameh? We're all talking about fluids here. So the Gemara says, Al Korcha b'Shmuel really. It must be that regarding this issue, he has to hold like Shmuel, otherwise it doesn't work. Even the way Shmuel learns, I understand if he holds like Rav, the Tani, Mashki, Beis Midbachaya. Rav made a chiluk between fluids in the butchering place, Aval Mashki, Beis Midbachaya, Achrin Nami Mitamu, but that fluids that are put on the mizbech not only can they be themselves, they can convey tumah further down the line. And basically what Chagai was questioning was Revi'i hu delo avid chamishi, but hashlishi avid Revi'i. So that was what Chagai was trying to find out from the Kohanim. Did they understand that by Hegdish, the buck stops by Revi'i, it doesn't go further? Fine, that's if Shmuel holds like Rav. In understanding Yosef ben Yoezer's Shita. Elei sover le Kalevi. But if he holds like the sheet of Levi we just introduced, who said there's no difference between fluids of the butchering place or fluids that are put on the mizbeach, right? The Tani Mashke Meis B'Chaya also included. My iri Revi de lo Yavid Chamishi. What kind of? It wouldn't be such a sophisticated question as can a Revi make a Chamishi if it's Shenami lo Avdi. According to the way Levi is understanding Yosef ben Yoezer, fluids can't become a tam at all. So Al Korcha Karav Svirle. So Shmuel has to hold like Rav in this as well. Just like we said, Levi has to hold like Shmuel, Shmuel has to hold like Rav. And Tanya Kavose de Rav, Tanya Kavose de Levi. I'm going to bring you a Baraisa to support Rav, I'm going to bring you a Baraisa to support Levi. Tanya Kavose de Levi, Adam Vayayin Vashem and Vamayim, blood, wine, oil, and water, mashki beis midbachaya, are considered fluids that are placed on the mizbeach. Now, if these fluids nitmu bifnim became tamei inside the base of Mikdash, botzi and lachutz tohorim, because this is Levi l'shitaso, that fluids cannot become tummy by anything. However, that's only the tour of not becoming tummy is only if it's in the base of mikdash. If these fluids nitmu bachutz became tummy outside the base of mikdash, so the Gemara has a brisa to support later, where it says, "Aini, it's not so." Amir ben Levi, mashki beis midbachaya, fluids that are put on the mizbeach, lo amrudachein elabim koima. That which we say they're tohor, that's only where they are, i.e., in the base of mikdash. And my love, doesn't it mean to exclude a case that they became tummy inside? So, or says, no, it's to exclude a case where they became tummy outside. Well, how can you mean that? Koima means inside. So hachi kamar, this I have to understand. When do we say fluids remain tor? If they got tummy where they are, in a chanami, the base of mikdash, then they will remain tor. And that's why the Baraisa supports later. Kain kavosei derab. Hadam v'amayim, blood and water, are mashki beis midbachai, are fluids that are used in the butchering house. Shenitmu ubein bekelim bein bekarka. If those fluids became tameh, whether the water was in the ground or whether the water was in a kli, they remain tohor. This is like Rav, who held that fluids of the butchering house remain tohor, but fluids that go on the mizbeach don't. Rab Shimon Oimer, bakelim tmein, if they got their tumah through a kli, they become tummy. But bekarka, tohor. We'll explain why there's a chilik between kalim and karka. Amrav Pam. Even according to Mandoma that says that when fluids become tummy, it's not rabbinic, it's doraisa. Mashki basement v'chai hilchas gemira. The fact that fluids in the butchering house are exempt, that's halach l'Moshe Sinai. Amar Rav Rav Nosson Rav Papa Elohada Am Rabbi Eliezer Ein Tumah L'Mashkin Kol Iker. There's no tumah b'chlal by fluids. Teda Sharei Hey Yosef ben Yoezer is Treda a mashke basement v'chai dechein that they're meikar adin, they're not tummy. The hilchas gemira law, and if it's halach l'Moshe Messina mi gamrina mina, what that other tumas of other beverages are lav deraisa, but we said even as deraisa, it's halach l'Moshe Messina and everything else is tor. Armalei Rabino Ravashi, Rab Shimon to Amar tumas mashkin deraisa. Rab Shimon who holds that the capability of fluids becoming tummy is deraisa the time. Rab Yosef Rab Shimon Oimer. That means if it touches food, it's for the purposes of converting food to tumah, yes, but not kalim. V'hachakam Rab Shimon, bakalim tmeim, bakarka tohoi. What kind of in kalim? They become tummy, and if it's in the ground, there it's tor. Now the hilchasahi. If it's halach l'Moshe mali kalim mali b'karka. The halacha exempting should make no difference whether it's a kli or whether it's karka. Or it says kasha. That's a problem that we can't answer. Amrav Papa. Hada amit bekarka tohoiri. That which we say, if the fluid is in karka, they remain tor, lo shano lamayim. It's only water. Aval dam lo. There is no chilik ben karka lekelim. The tumah didei deraisa off the karka, according to Rav Shimon. That's what Rashi says. You need at least a revius water for it to remain tohor. Because let's say you have a tamei dik of needle you could be toivel that needle in a revius mine. Avalav revius main, the patur in karka of water means they have to have sort of the ability to serve as a mikveh. Means they have to have at least a revius mine. If they don't have revius mayim, that fluid can become tummy as well. Omar Mar. Rabbi Yehuda oimer lakol tummy. That it becomes, no matter what it touches, whether it touched food, whether it touched kalim, the fluids can transmit tumor. Misafik. Afraid the Gemara lemema the Sav Rabbi Yehuda tumas mashkin l'tami tumas kalim deraisa. Now, why would you treat a suffix as tummy? It's because you talk about deraisa, because suffix deraisa l'chumra. So obviously, Rabbi Yehuda is holding that the ability of mashkin to be tummy kalim is deraisa. Because if it was a suffix case, we treat it stringently. But it's not like the following Mishnah, Vatnan. Kol ha-kelim sheyesh le'nachorayim v'toch. If you have a kli that has a handle, it has outside and inside. You go on korim ksos sokin v'amritzufi. Pillows, sacks, they have an outside, they have an inside. The din is nitma tocho. Let's say a sheretz fell on the inside. Nitma gabo, then the outside becomes tamei too. However, nitma gabo lo nitma tocho. If the sheretz touch the outside of the pillow, the inside does not become tamei. That's if fluids touch these items. Then there's a chilik between whether it touched the inside or the outside. Aval nitmu machmas sheretz, there's no difference. Nitma toicha, nitma gabo, nitma tocha. That's the case. If your havamina is that tumas mashkin l'tami kelim is deraisa, that the ability of fluids to be l'tami kli is from Torah, mali nitma machmas mashkin. What do we care? Why should there be a difference? But if tumas mashkin is deraisa, what's the difference? Why should it be different than a sheretz? Mali nitma machmas mashkin, mali nitma machmas sheretz. Amir Mashmuel, Chazer bo Rav Yehuda. He went back on what he said. Ravina Amar Loilam Lo Hada. Ravina says he didn't go back because the mashkin here is a different mashkin. Habe mashkin aboy machmas yodayim. When you touch with your hands fluid, they become a sheni automatically. Versus b'mashkin aboy machmas sheretz, as opposed to a mashkin, a fluid that's going to be matami through a sheretz. The tumah that mashkin have because of yadayim is clearly rabbinic, but tumas mashkin that comes from a sheretz, that's clearly deraisa. So if that chiluk is correct, until you made the point that in what case is it relevant shenitnu machmas mashkin in a case where they were matami mashkin and not something else? If your chiluk is correct, liflog the list of it, you should have made the chiluk like the following: Bamed v'mamorim b'mashkin aboy machmas yadayim. It's only tumid rabbanon. But you didn't fan for this way. The attempt to give a different teretz other than Chazer bar Rav Yehuda failed because the language of how the Bamed V'Mamorim was stated didn't state it the way the teretz would work. When it says Rav Yehuda went back, is it Mekalim Huda Bay? Did he only go back regarding Kalim of Abba Oichling, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon Sfirale? But regarding the ability of Mashkin to be Matami Ochel, that's Minat Torah. It's only the kalim that he went back and he said that that's not min Torah. Odimah lagamri hadarbe. Rav Meir. Maybe he holds like Rav Meir that tumas mashkin bichlal of all types and with all of the abilities that it has. They don't have the ability to become not kalim and not oichel. Rav Meir. So what is how far did Rabbi Yehuda retract? Did he retract only his din by kalim but not oichel? Or did he retract kalim and oichel like Rav Meir? Rav Yitzchak Torshma. Rav Yitzchak is going to bring us a proof to tell us what Rav Yehuda did. And the case is para sheshasusa mechatas. If a paraduma drank ashes of paraduma that had been dissolved in water, and then you shechted it while that water was still in the stomach of the cow, the meat of the cow is tameh. Mechatis is b'tamim afilu adam v'kelim. And this will be the proof. And Rabbi Yehuda is going to give us another dinner. We'll learn this tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow